there, Vlad here. Welcome to CatPick Fridays, episode 63. And this is obviously the show that brings you latest and the greatest in guitar and music industry news, reactions, commentary, analysis, reviews, maybe not 100% sure. Once again, I'm joined by my co-host and the guy who's really preparing for the NAMM trip, Rich. Are you 100% packed and ready to go already?
Unlikely. Firstly, because it's 2 weeks till I leave, but secondly, because I am way behind on everything I need to prepare. So that's how it's looking at the moment. But it's always the same, and it would all work out.
Good.
Trust me.
So you're checking in a bag, unlike I was during my NAMM trips.
Yeah, of course I am. Although, I actually found out from some of my blue guitar colleagues that maybe I take too much luggage. They were laughing at me when I said I needed the whole 20 kilograms of check-in allowance. I told them I need to change my clothes every day. I wear fresh underwear every day. I might wear a new t-shirt every day. I want to take at least 2 pairs of shoes, maybe 3. And they're laughing at me. I take a bag of bathroom stuff so I can clean myself before the show. Seems like not everyone wants to do the same thing.
That's part of the NAMM experience.
Thinking about it as well, if you're going to NAMM without check-in, you can't even take hygienic products. Unless you're taking tiny bottles that you can take on the plane. I guess, the music industry, rock and roll, it's a dirty business, isn't it? But still.
At least when I've gone there, they've been fairly, okay with me just putting everything into plastic bags, and then they allowed me to go in. So I don't know how that rule actually works. It's weird.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, whatever. I'm taking everything.
You've stayed there for longer than I've been. I've been there for 4 or 5 nights. So just carry on.
That is a good point. Yeah,
luggage.
I'll be there for over 2 weeks again. So
yeah, it's a huge difference,
stuff.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's also like if you're there for 2 weeks, the situation for me then becomes critical. And apologies to everyone listening or watching. I'm sure this is hugely exciting for you, especially as a way of beginning the podcast. But for me, once I get to 2 weeks, I have to start thinking about, well, do I try and take fresh items of clothing for every day, which is a lot of stuff, or do I have to consider the fact that I need to find a laundrette somewhere and clean the clothes that I brought with me? So I can take half the clothes, but I have to wash them somewhere. It's questions like this that define my sad existence. If you have answers, please comment down below how I could improve my life.
Yes, and wrong answers only, please. We're going to react to those next week.
I look forward to that.
Yes, exactly. Something I want to show, I guess. I'm going to show it. Going to make some space here at the table as well. And try not to knock down my mug with water.
How are you going to show it? You're going to get a different camera. How's that going to work?
I got all them tools here. Let's see. No, not that's what I'm gonna solo myself out here because I have a huge ego. Yep. Thanks. I was just clicking the wrong button. The Harley Benton DIY kit. It has been finished. I don't know how to show this to you while also be able to speak to them.
Of all the ways, that was probably the way you shouldn't have picked. But yeah, that looks amazing. For anybody who's just listening to this, if you're in the car or whatever, or jogging or doing your weekly shop and listening to the podcast, go onto Vlad's channel and have a look at this Harley Benton kit that he's built because it looks brilliant.
There you go.
And look at that camera angle.
Yes. I think that this might be the first time I'm rocking double camera setup for CatPick Fridays, so well done me. Yeah. More detail on how this project concluded all of that will be featured on the show that is, or the final build video. It will let's say, most likely tomorrow or Sunday latest. I have 6 hours of footage to edit. But overall, now this guitar is playable. It's well set up. I worked on the frets. By the way, the fingerboard was incredibly dry. I have this. This is Well, I guess this is slightly sponsored by Hosotech, but they sent me a care package way back when, and this is called like fretboard conditioner. Applied this on the fretboard. It changed color quite drastically, became way darker. Feels great now. It doesn't seem like it's about to crack or anything. It's clean. And the fingerboard became way darker.
What's the fingerboard wood? Because right now, looking at it, I mean, part of the guitar's body is black. The pickups themselves are black. The guitar's fretboard looks to be really, really dark. It looks like ebony from here. But it's obviously not ebony, is it?
Amaranth.
What is the listed wood?
It's amaranth.
Amaranth, okay. That's purple heart, right?
I guess so.
Is another word for that? But yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic from here. One other thing that I'm sort of kind of taken aback by in a way is the fact that looking at it from this angle, the pickups look so close together. I guess that's because it's a 24 fret guitar, but it's really interesting. I don't own any 24 fret guitars, so I've never, had a guitar like that close up in that way. But yeah, look at the gap between them. It's tiny. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's actually true. Like, if you get a PRS, that's the same with those as well. They are fairly close.
Exactly the same, huh? Okay.
Yeah, this is very PRS-ish design, at least. A lot of mistakes were made while building this thing, and you can watch all of that once the video airs. I haven't put the backplate on just yet in case I need to adjust it, the springs just a bit. I decided not to paint anything on the back just to save time and get this ready. But the deadline, this is all sanded with a very fine sandpaper and feels super, super nice. And because I made a lot of mistakes painting the front of the guitar, I don't mind the back of the guitar getting all the scratches and stuff like that. I think that's in the spirit of Eddie as well. So
yeah. And when that guitar relics up a bit, it's going to look amazing. I'm super impressed with what you've done, genuinely.
Yeah, the lacquer layers are fairly thin. There's a little bit of cracks here and there that's on the finish as well because the lacquer layers weren't even. I had to spray paint this outside. So it wasn't ideal, and that resulted in some cracks here and there. There's a tiny bit of paint that just came off for some reason. But this will age so well. It's going to look so cool when it starts getting like that natural wear, some dings here and there. And I like the logo here as well. And
yeah, it looks super cool. The headstock is a nice shape and stuff. And I do think that with a bit more TLC at some points, maybe it sounds good enough so far, but maybe at some point you'll want to put some boutique pickups in there or whatever, upgrade some of the other parts, electronics or the switch there, for example, maybe the bridge, whatever. I'd put a hardtail bridge on it, of course, if it was me, but after that, it's going to be an awesome guitar.
Yeah, there's, by the way, a hardtail version of this kit available if someone wants to get that. Yeah. So, yeah. And what's the DIY kit? If you're watching this, let's say May 14th, 16th, 17th onwards, 2022, the build vlog is most likely out and you can see the rest of the process and what I did to this guitar. So, yeah, let that be a teaser, more info, and a produced track version. Or like you can hear this guitar in a produced track in the video that will be out soon. I'm going to put this away. But yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it. But also, have you noticed that you're wearing a shirt with the same color scheme as the guitar right now?
I did. And that was
it was a conscious decision. Yeah. Snappy.
Yes.
I like it.
But yeah, worked on that thing for many hours yesterday, and as I mentioned, I got about 6 hours of footage to edit, but that should be a lot of fun. I can't believe I made it. It's a lot of work. It was so much work. I can't believe I made it by the deadline.
When is the deadline?
This Sunday.
Oh, okay. And when will they be judging the competition, and how do they judge it?
I'm not sure. I think so there's two stages. First of all, there's the kind of wave of content creators doing this DIY kit challenge thing. You've seen probably a few. I think Andy was doing one. Perfecto de Castro was doing one. Colin was doing one.
Did Colin Scott do one?
Yeah, did I mention Colin? Colin Scott, yeah, he's doing one as well.
Yeah, maybe you did.
Yeah, then I've linked a couple of weird guitars. I saw someone doing like a weird spaghetti guitar. or like macaroni
yeah.
guitar.
And there's a sticker guitar or a sticker bass.
There's
I've seen a couple of
those.
basses. Yeah.
I want to say that's the easy road to go if you go with stickers. Don't
Yeah.
have to do any finishes
Just a load of stickers.
outside when it's plus 4 degrees.
Even I could put a sticker on a guitar. Actually, you know what? I'd probably end up sticking it onto my own face by mistake or something, but there we go. We're all different.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, from this to... Oh, by the way, you had... what was the pedal called? Oh, yeah, Flamma pedals. You've dived into the Flamma pedal world as well. I've seen a lot of people demoing those, and now you're one of them, I guess.
I did. I joined the crew. Here it is. It's the smallest mini pedal that I've ever actually seen. I must have another mini pedal close by. Yeah, I do. Actually, the Ibanez Tube Screamer Mini. It's even smaller. So it's the miniest. Whoa, it's the miniest. It's the miniest mini pedal I've ever seen. I'm not the world's biggest expert on tube screamers. I tend to go for more transparent overdrive pedals, as you guys may know. But yeah, this is really cool. It's super cheap, has 2 different modes. It's a tube screamer. Please watch my video because it's not doing very well.
Yep.
So far,
I've seen the
it's a slow burner.
on a bunch of channels. And some background info. They once contacted me as well about their pedals, and I said no. Do I regret it? Not sure. Not necessarily. I think I was just busy at the time.
A few months later, they were like, okay, we've run out of good YouTube channels. How about this Rich Words music guy? So it's like they're going down.
How about this Vlad guy?
But yeah, anyway.
Matching shirt.
I was happy to do it. But yeah, they also sent me the distortion pedal. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is.
Interesting.
In terms of what it's influenced by.
Yep, indeed. But should we dive into the section of latest and greatest in something?
Most definitely should. Things that have taken place in the not too distant past is the catchy title I would give it.
Yeah, kind of cool. I think that's the new official title of the segment. Mm-hmm. But honestly, it's also known as Recent Happenings. And yeah, one of the recent things, besides me starting to upgrade the studio, by the way, I forgot to mention about that as well. But maybe more on that once it's actually ready. So let's talk about the news. Schecter Nick Johnston unveil atomic finished Diamond Series T-Type signature model. And yeah, basically this is the continuation to his, I want to say, very successful signature Strat type guitar. So cool. Looks really nice. Yeah, I mean, when did the Strat types come out? There must be 2, maybe even 3 years or something or maybe even longer that the first ones came out. But I think the Strat type versions have done really well. I think when we were at first GitCon in 2017, wasn't that the hot new thing at that point? The Strat
I think that's exactly what it would be. And was that the one that Nick Johnston was at with the guitar? Or was that the year after? Because he was at one of them.
Honestly, I don't quite remember. He might have been there for a day or 2, or he was at the GitCon 2 where I wasn't.
Okay, he was definitely at one of them. So, oh wow. I mean, if you think about it, the first GitCon in about 6 months' time, that's going to be 5 years ago. Wow. So how time flies. But yeah, so okay, that guitar is a little bit older than we thought. And they started with a master-built one for around €3,000 or dollars or $2.5. And then came the more affordable sub $1,000 version, which apparently has done very, very well. I've tried both of the guitars. I think they're both fantastic. I would definitely have one of the S-type, more affordable ones in a heartbeat because it's kind of upper point of the budget that I would pay for something, but used prices are pretty good. There's great color schemes, great specs, and they sound and play great. And this T-style is a continuation of that. So about a year or so ago, he teased the exclusive boutique $3,000 version, the master-built one. I believe they're Japanese built, are they? The more expensive ones. And now we have the Diamond Series T-Type, which is more affordable, around $899. And again, specifications look fantastic. It's basically a Telecaster-type guitar with a humbucker in the neck and a single coil in the bridge. But if we go through the finer specs and details, it looks very cool.
Yeah. 22 jumbo frets, Graphtec XL black desk knot, as well as Schecter's brass circle inlays. That's flame or roasted maple neck, isn't it? I think I skipped that part somewhere.
It says hard roasted maple neck. Sorry, roasted hard rock maple neck with an ebony fretboard. Did the S-Types have ebony boards? I thought they were just all roasted maple, but I could be wrong.
He might have both, actually.
Maybe you're right. Maybe both, but again, not 100% great choices both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are great specs for the money. The 14-inch fingerboard radius might be a slightly more quiet taste, but it's somewhere, I guess, between fairly modern and vintage, so that could be great. 25.5
14-inch, pretty flat, decent for shredding, but good for everything. I think players these days want flatter boards. It's got the jumbo frets as well, so it's obviously suited for people who like to play music in the style of Nick Johnston as well. I don't really think that people who are after a classic Telecaster type guitar will go for this, but you never know. I mean, it has all the specs that you would want in that regard as well, in my opinion. And it comes with Schecter's own pickups, doesn't it? And that's one of the bigger differences between the more expensive and this more affordable guitar. You get more boutique pickups in the more expensive ones, but the Schecter own brand pickups that I've tried in the S-Type Nick Johnston guitar sound lovely. I really, really enjoy them. So I would have high hopes for this one.
Yeah, this is looks great. $900. That's very reasonable. I actually like the color scheme as well. So there's white, vintage white. Oh, sorry, Atomic Frost.
Yes, Atomic Frost, Seafoam Green, Black, and is that a Sonic Blue? Oh, the colorways are literally written on the screen. Atomic Frost, Atomic Ink, Atomic Green, and Atomic Snow. So they're all atomic, whatever that means. Hopefully they're not radioactive or anything like that.
I sure hope
so. It's kind of a more modern color scheme that we've seen other brands like Harley Benton do recently. You're getting these kind of almost sort of warmer pastel shades. Definitely.
Or even PRS
in comparison to older Sunburst and stuff like that.
Yeah, and even PRS with the John Mayer SE models. Same, they have that berry color and this greenish as well, and they're kind of cool. By the way, the PRS SEs are now available at a local store here. The John Mayer ones, first of all, I need to get rid of the flu and then go and try them out.
Yes.
I want to try them out at least.
Yes, you need to, and then report back.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting because I think these will be a very, very decent competitor for the newest Fender Player Plus Telecasters.
That is very true.
They're similar in price. I think these might even be a tad cheaper than the Player Plus Tellies.
Could be.
Of course, you can get the Fender Player Telecasters, which are cheaper, but these sit bang in the middle of that range. And if you're someone who was looking for a Fender Telly before but wanted to go into the more kind of Nick Johnston direction, then you've got an option here.
Yeah, I'd be actually interested in the Schecter ones a bit more because I think one of the differences is that the Schecter one comes with jumbo frets. And I'm just a fan of jumbo frets. I've just gotten used to them. Somehow they just suit my hands better. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Fender has changed their frets as well. I mean, their more recent guitars have the narrow, tall frets, but if you want jumbo frets, you get it on this guitar.
Yeah.
Is
Yep.
the humbucker
Really.
coil splittable? Can you take that down to single coil mode?
I am not sure, and I'm quickly trying
Yes.
to see.
Yep.
It is.
Just in that paragraph at the bottom
Nice.
there. Despite the changes, it's got an equally versatile control layout comprising a 3-way selector switch, as you would expect on a teletype guitar, a master volume knob, and a push-pull tone control that accesses neck single coil sounds. So
Excellent.
neck humbucker and almost a neck single coil as well. So yeah, very cool. That's my number one guitar is my Fender Tele that I put a neck humbucker with split coil capabilities in, and it's not too dissimilar from this guitar. So you can see why I'm attracted to this.
Yes, my number one guitar is also a Tele, though it doesn't have a neck humbucker, but you can see why we're getting along fairly well most of the time, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that Spider-Man man meme, like, you like Teles, and we're just pointing at each other.
Oh yeah, it's like
That's
the
how
three
we
of
met.
us. Everyone likes Teles, don't they? Don't they?
Not all people.
No, they don't.
I know I've run into some people over the years who absolutely despise Teles.
Not with your car,
reason
I
for
hope.
that. Besides that, they thought the guitars were ugly. But I used to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might have to also change because I think in some of the metal community that was more of a thing. Teles were kind of anti-metal in a way, but I think that might have changed as well over the years. So
Yeah, I think you
speaking
might
of
be
Teles
right.
and metal, seamless transition,
That was
absolutely perfect. I didn't plan this, but Solar unleashes 13 metal-friendly axes in Mammoth Spring 2022 drop. Now, we are not sure about this release in the sense that I don't think there's anything on Solar Guitar's website about this. Guitar World
Or
has
on
an
their
article
YouTube
for some
channel.
reason. Sorry?
There's nothing on their YouTube channel either. As of filming, we're filming this
Yes,
on
which is
Friday the
Friday
13th, the most
13th.
metal of all days.
yes, indeed. What better
So
time
we
to talk
think
about
this is
metal
a true
guitars?
story. But it's just,
Sure.
obviously Vlad and I, we research what we're going to talk about on the show, at least to some extent. There is some planning that goes into this, mostly from Vlad's side, I have to admit. And the only website that has this press release about the new Solar guitars is Guitar World. So well done to Mike and his team at Guitar World for getting the scoop on this, if it's brand new, as we think it is. But just in case it's not, just in case this is something older or we've got something wrong, we do apologize. But we should talk about these guitars because Solar is doing big things, and now it has released a Mammoth for spring 2022.
Indeed. And right away,
With catchy
I want
names.
to toot my own horn, so to speak. Last week, and we finally remembered to check what we predicted last week, because at the end of our show, we do a prediction of what will be released by the time we shoot the next video. And I said, somebody's going to release a single cut 7-string guitar. And lo and behold,
The
Solar
first guitar
giveth
pictured on this page.
and taketh your money away, something like that.
Yep. That was a pretty
There you
good
go.
guess. I take my hat off to you, but I do have to also say that my prediction last week was, what was it? That an American company would release a decent electric guitar or something. It was a rubbish prediction. And the first guitar that we featured this week was the Schecter Nick Johnston PT, T-Type. Schecter is an American company, so I'll take that too. We've both done well this week, although you win with this.
Yes, we're the Nostradamuses of the music industry news.
Indeed, we are.
Yeah. I mean, this looks
It's like we
metal.
make 100 guesses, 4 come true, and we become saints.
Yeah, that's how it goes nowadays. I mean, this thing looks very, very, very metal. But hey, it's a single cut shape and it has 7 strings. I mean, I've played a few solo guitars at NAMM actually, and they're good. All I can say that those are good guitars, and I can see why people want to get them. Olo is also just a very relatable guy that I think helps with his marketing.
Can you please pronounce the names of some of these new models for me?
Yes, absolutely. Are you not familiar with T1.6AFBRB and also the super catchy T1.6H3TS?
They sound like COVID variants, which is also
true.
kind of metal.
If Ibanez one sounds like Wi-Fi passwords, these are the COVID variants.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they all mean something, just like the Ibanez ones. AB1 would be the model, 6 or 7 for the
yes,
the numbers of strings, FR, the finish, and then, I don't know, body woods, pickups, different bridge types. I don't know, but yeah. As you scroll down the page, what I'm seeing is guitars that look more and more metal with every sweep of the mouse.
Yes. I actually really enjoyed the take on the Explorer. That thing looks very metal. It's very ESP-like, and it's nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It is.
And so
That's definitely one of the less original designs.
Yeah, I like the heavy use of Evertune bridges as well, because I think for metal especially, that's kind of the thing. So nice. And
yeah, Solar is doing great stuff. They are, I don't know, the way they're working is a very kind of innovative 21st century style way of doing things, you know, selling direct, being online only pretty much. They're doing incredibly well.
Yep. And I can't imagine how much work he had to put into to basically have his own guitar company, but now that it's running, like they did well. So
yeah, I mean,
nice.
Of course, the fact that Ola is Ola, you know, one of the biggest channels out there, that helped. But you can't create a company this successful in a kind of declining industry like the electric guitar industry, and
is it declining though?
Do it without a lot of work. I don't know. I guess it would be controversial to say it's a declining industry, but if you look at kind of the decline of the guitar in the overall kind of world of popular music, at least as a lead instrument, you have to say that the industry is declining, don't you?
Maybe, though, weirdly enough, going off the rails a little bit, but me and my wife like to watch the Eurovision because it's kind of silly, very entertaining in that sense. And I actually noticed this year, like every second artist performs, there's a guitar. Either the singer itself is playing the guitar, or there's a band and you can see the guitar. It's weird. I don't remember seeing this much guitar on Eurovision as of late. I feel it's becoming cool again to play guitar. Like visually, like it's...
Yeah. I think you may kind of have a point there, and I hope you do. I hope you're right, because there are other artists out there at the moment, like Machine Gun Kelly, who are really sort of that's easy to say, repopularizing the guitar, at least in a certain way. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly is he's not like a guitar virtuoso or anything and would never claim to be, but he's doing sort of pop punky stuff at the moment, and he has that kind of bright pink signature guitar that Hunter did a great video on, a Schecter indeed. And yeah, he's bringing it back in a way, and it's opening up the guitar world to a generation of kids who would never have heard it. So yeah, okay, I retract my statement about the guitar industry being in decline. It's on the up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, you have been forgiven. But yeah, solo guitars looking great.
Yep.
And
good drop.
What also, I guess, looks great, is the Dave Mustaine Signature acoustic guitar by Gibson. And personally, this raises all kinds of questions. But first of all, I'm going to ask, what do you think of this guitar? When you think about Dave Mustaine, does acoustic guitar come to your mind at any point? If you do a list of like Dave Mustaine things, where does the acoustic guitar rank in that list?
Well, I mean, obviously Megadeth are renowned for their MTV Unplugged performance, where he played a hummingbird.
Yes.
That's not true, is it? I no. I do not associate Dave Mustaine with acoustic guitar in any way, shape or form. So, yeah for me, this was a surprise. kind of not a surprise in a way, because he's just released a bunch of signature electrics. We've had the V's and so on. But yeah, I don't associate Dave Mustaine with acoustic guitars. Maybe he writes with them or something. I'm not sure. But
could be.
I mean, why not? This is another case of, it's a perfect juxtaposition with the Solar story. You know, you see what Solar are doing, working with new and upcoming artists in a way. They're doing a lot of stuff online. And then you see a company like Gibson who is working with these older, established, some might just say old, rock stars, you know, releasing... Some might. I mean, I don't know how old Dave Mustaine is, but he's got to be 50-something. I'm going to search right now. How old do you think he is? I'm going to say he's 55.
Mustaine?
Yeah.
He's in his 60s.
No way.
61, 60, 62. I mean, he's the same, roughly the same age as the Metallica guys, and they are in the 60s now.
Yeah, he's 60. Blimey. I had no idea. So there you go. It's older or old rock stars, and obviously Megadeth is a huge deal. So is Dave Mustaine. But it's like,
still touring, still releasing albums,
still relevant in that context.
Yeah, some might say they're still way more up to speed, or like still doing really well live show and album wise compared to Metallica, for example.
Yeah. The one really interesting thing about this guitar, from purely a guitar perspective, is that this is the first ever 24-fret acoustic guitar that Gibson have made.
Oh, that is very interesting. I don't know where you need the 24 frets, but sure, why not? Kind of. I guess my question would be why? But then again, the question could also be why not? So, checking the Sweetwater side, there's nice skulls on it as well. Has this... How would you describe these fret markers? He had these on his Dean guitars as well.
Yeah, there is an official name for them, which I forgot. I mean, I think they actually look kind of cool.
Kind of cool.
I think it's something that if you're a Dave Mustaine fan, you obviously have kind of that visual sort of aspect that tells you that it's a Dave Mustaine guitar. For anybody else, you might not know, and yet it's just something that looks a little bit different. It looks a little bit kind of cool. I like them. What about you, Vlad?
I think they're cool. They actually suit an acoustic guitar better than I thought. Oh, they're called Mother in Pearl teeth inlays.
Teeth.
Never thought of those as teeth.
No, me neither, but there we go. They had to call them something.
They did.
And so, I guess the question is, who is this guitar going to be for? I mean, obviously it's aimed at big fans of Dave Mustaine, and also fans of Dave Mustaine who have big wallets, because the price tag is suitably Gibson. It's available for $4,499. So it's not cheap.
No, but if you think of this release in a way where there's some fans that kind of grew up with Dave Mustaine over the years. They're in their 50s, maybe early 60s. They're well established in their jobs. The kids might have moved out of the house already. They can afford nice things. I could see.
And this is a nice thing. That's for sure.
Yes, this is a nice thing. And for 45, what? How do numbers work? $4,500 for Dave Mustaine Gibson acoustic guitar. That's kind of cool. And since your kids moved out already, you have the means for that. Why not?
Yeah. And you can spend all your time soloing up at that 24th fret.
Yes. Exactly. I would love to try this out. Just like
me too.
Feel how a guitar like this, try how this type of guitar feels.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're joking about it slightly, but I have a big amount of respect for it and would be really interested to check it out. I mean, for me, the 24th fret is not necessary in any way. I don't go up that high. That's all there is to it. And especially on an acoustic, I think once you go up that high and you're soloing, you want to do bends and widdly stuff. And for me, it just, it wouldn't work. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But for those who wish to, can you think, Vlad, of many acoustic sort of rocky tracks that have solos on acoustic guitars? The only acoustic solo in that regard that comes to mind for me is on Tribute by Tenacious D. But I'm pretty sure that there's no 24th fret involved in that.
Yeah, well, now that I think of it, there is some acoustic guitar stuff on Megadeth's album. I think, what is the opening track to the not Peace Cells, who's buying one? Oh, come on. I spoiled me too much. I'll need to find out what's the name of the song, but it's literally it's the intro song of the album. And
okay. Well, there is actually
that one.
Carry on.
Yeah, that track is actually probably an nylon string, but still.
Okay. I've been looking at another article about this guitar on Music Radar, and they do mention that there is acoustic guitar on the new Megadeth album, which hasn't been released yet at time of filming. And they mentioned that they'd made a prototype for him for this guitar, which had a smaller body and a sharper cutaway. And he actually used that guitar for the recording of the new Megadeth album, which we haven't heard yet. But
nice.
They changed the whole design to be a bigger body in the style of the Gibson songwriter. And this is the guitar that we get to buy now, but that's not actually the guitar that features on the record. So, yeah, Megadeth is one band who uses acoustic guitar for this kind of music.
Yeah. And I mean, as I mentioned, there's acoustic guitar on Holy Wars, for example, from one of the, from Rust in Peace, for example. Then Euthanasia, which that or Rust in Peace or Countdown to Extinction, one of those three might be my favorite Megadeth albums. There's actually quite a lot of acoustic guitars, like a lot of acoustic guitar intros and interludes and things like that. So
yeah,
actually, this kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And bands like Metallica from the same genre, the same kind of era as Megadeth, they also have made use of acoustic sounds, haven't they?
Yeah. So long story short, we approve this release. Thumbs up from us.
Yeah, it's like from me a cautious thumbs up, because like you said at the start, it does raise some questions, but overall, yeah, do something different.
Yeah. And also what I wanted to mention earlier was that actually, now that I think of it, if I would get a premium acoustic guitar, so let's say $4,000 or $5,000 to spend, I think my two choices would be between a Taylor and a Gibson. Not saying that I would probably end up with the Dave Mustaine Gibson, at least, most likely, but a Gibson is a very solid choice for like a dream acoustic guitar. Would have to try a few out, but
well, some wise marketing head once said only a Gibson is good enough.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So it must be true.
Yeah,
but yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to go back into the kind of what guitar would I buy debate if I had $4,500. I'm not sure I consider this. I mean, I'd have to play one, and if you fall in love for that price, then you buy it. But for me, I would feel like I'd want to be going to a guitar that had a wide range of vintage, played-in acoustic guitars, and pick a guitar that's already kind of, the wood is alive and it has songs in it already and stuff like that. That's what I would first be looking for. And if I was going for a brand new guitar, there's something about Taylors, that for me, they're the acoustic PRS in a way, because they're perfectly done, They might lack the character of some of the other brands, but they're perfect. They're easy to play, they sound great. And Taylor is obviously really good when it comes to sustainability of woods and stuff like that. So I like that too.
Yes.
But yeah.
Really interesting guitar. Let us know what you think. I'm sure people have opinions on this one, so let us know. And do something completely different, and this is very interesting. Chase Bliss is moving to direct-to-consumer business model to prevent raising its prices, and we quote the Guitar.com article, they say, our pedals are really expensive and I also don't want to compromise on the quality to save money. This is interesting. Basically what they're doing is, well, from now on you'll be able to, or at some point you will be able to buy Chase Bliss pedals only directly from them, and they are also sending up I don't know how to call it. They will basically be located in EU as well, and that way they can provide customers with EU free shipping on all orders, no customs or import fees, and local repairs and services as well. And yeah, this is strange, but I guess I kind of get it. Maybe you might be more familiar with the retail side of things. For whatever reason, I assume you are. So what do you think?
Yeah, this is news to me. It's an interesting move. I mean, we do already see a lot of more boutique pedal companies selling direct. I mean, it makes sense in many ways because you obviously cut out the middleman of distribution and stuff like that. But what is not 100% certain from reading this press release is, are they going to pull out of most stores? Are they going to do something similar to Behringer or TC Electronic and just have maybe one or two dealers per territory, like, you know, just Thomann and Andertons in the Europe area, for example? That's not clear from this release, but yeah, I understand companies doing it. It benefits them because they save money and make more money every time they make a sale. It can benefit customers in some ways, but if products like that are not in stores, customers don't have a chance to go and check them out first. And these are expensive pedals. Obviously, Chase Bliss has a massive fan base of people who will always buy their new pedals. You know, they're lucky in that regard. You know, they have a great reputation among their own fans. And, you know, when it's a weird noise-making machine, it's going to be Chase Bliss. And as we saw with the most recent release of the Habit, a bunch of people went out and bought that straight away. And I think people will have put their money down for it without even knowing what it was going to be. You know, it was a new Chase Bliss pedal. Okay, I'm going to buy it. But for everybody else out there, it's kind of like, it makes it harder for them to check it out before they spend the money. And
very true.
Yeah, will they continue to offer, or will they continue to have regional technicians who can look at pedals for people if you have problems? I suspect that Chase Bliss pedals don't have an awful lot of problems. And if they do, they're basically unfixable for anybody apart from Chase Bliss themselves anyway, because they're so complex. But yeah, that's something to think about as well. I think it's a two-sided sort of coin, this kind of direct versus non-direct model. If they're purely going to be online only, I think that's a brave move. And it could work for them, of course. But it's like, I'd be scared to do it. At the moment, with my day job with Blue Guitar, we have direct sales in the European Union at this time. We're probably possibly going to expand it at some point in the future. We don't know. But it would be incredibly risky to pull out of established dealers and to work with people in different territories in the world who have that knowledge of their local dealer base, their local customer bases and stuff like that. Chase Bliss is obviously a very different company, but yeah, that's my initial thoughts on it. What I'm going to have to do after the show is watch the video that is linked to in that article, which apparently is a more detailed explanation from Chase Bliss about what they're going to be doing, how they're changing their business model.
Yeah. This is interesting, and what I'm also interested in is whether other companies will follow. If this goes well, could we see other companies do this well? Because I feel with a lot of newer manufacturers, marketing is all done via YouTube and social media in general. And I feel Chase Bliss is actually a perfect example of that. And this is, I guess, a natural continuation of that. Because I also don't think, like, if you go to a store and you try out the Chase Bliss Habit, for example, is that a place where you would be incredibly convinced by all of the, like, can you really appreciate the pedal in that moment with everything it does? Or would you just go like, okay, this is a $400 pedal and it makes weird sounds. Why would I buy it? Instead of going on YouTube, seeing your favorite YouTuber really break down what you can do with that. Give some examples of all the creative ways you can use the pedal, and then you would just order it from the Chase Bliss website. Could it, like, one of my theories is that this could be very closely, like, this change is very closely linked to the types of pedals they produce. If they would make, like JHS wouldn't probably do this because their pedals are more simple. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They're just more simple, easier to get a grasp on. Like it's just easy to understand what the pedal does when you get a JHS pedal. On average, at least, it's way easier than anything Chase Bliss produces. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the one interesting thing that I'm just seeing at the top of the article there, Vlad, just underneath the headline, is a quote from the founder of Chase Bliss, the boss, Joel Court. Is it Court or is it Corte? I don't know, but we'll say Joel. He says, I couldn't see any other way to go forward without raising our prices. And I think that is probably a key consideration here as well. You know, everything has got more expensive since COVID. We currently have a situation in Russia and Ukraine, which is causing issues with global supply chain demands as well, and prices of things are going up, and prices are only going to go up. And what Chase Bliss might be doing here is saying, okay, we're only going to sell direct because, like he says, that's the only way to stop our prices going up significantly. And I think Chase Bliss pedals are already a significant investment for most guitar players. Were they to go up even more, were they to go up 10% in price or something like that, you're pricing out 99% of people. Selling direct is a way to remove the cost of a distribution chain and keep those prices down. I mean, the one interesting thing there is also the fact that they say they're going to move some staff to Amsterdam in the Netherlands to look after European stuff. That's surely going to contribute significantly to extra costs. Whether or not they're going to open their own office and train people or relocate people, or whether they're actually working with an established partner in Amsterdam is not covered in this article. Again, I need to watch the video.
Yeah, they do say that they will be moving some of its staff to Amsterdam, Netherlands. So
I mean, that is a huge cost in itself.
Maybe at first, but maybe they've calculated in the savings they will get from selling direct, and like maybe it all matches.
Yeah, they will have certainly had to do that. They won't have just done this kind of as a snap decision or anything like that. But yeah, it's still a big thing. And again, it's like Chase Bliss are in they're in North America. There are already many established pedal distribution companies in Europe, and I know of at least one in the Netherlands that does a bunch of, high quality boutique brand American pedals. And Chase Bliss would presumably have slotted into that range fairly well. So it's like, this is a really interesting choice. So actually, I guess I'm pre-teasing and changing the weekend watch that we're going to mention, because I'm going to watch this video this weekend. And find out what's going on. Yeah,
that's the thing. I'll have to watch it as well. But
I wonder if we basically kind of the NAMM show. Sorry, I'm just wondering out loud.
Yeah,
I'm going to search that right now.
We'll have, please leave some room for a microphone in your suitcase so you can do an interview with them and ask what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey,
Chase Bliss
what's with
is
this
not at
direct
the NAMM
sales
show.
thing?
Yeah, if I see the guys when I'm there, I will grab a short interview quote and just try and find out something if I can.
Nice. Sounds good. And from something, well, I guess this is kind of serious, something, I'm going to say less serious. John Mayer's in the news once again because he signed a fan's Klon Centaur pedal on stage and also marked his settings on his that he uses on his Klon Centaur.
Now that is serious.
That is very serious, and there's a photo of the person who got his clone signed, and there's little markers where how John uses his Klon Centaur.
Imagine if Imagine if he trolled the guy and just put totally random, stupid settings on there.
You're like, I use the output on 0 all the time. It sounds great.
Yeah.
the best way the Klon
I'm
sound
quite
is
surprised that
running.
his output is so low. It's like 10 o'clock, less than halfway up.
Interesting.
To me, that feels like it would actually make your sound quieter. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I guess it also depends where the Klon is in the signal chain, so hard to
It
tell.
does. And I guess if
I
you've got it
haven't-
always on, then it doesn't make you quieter, does it? It's just, it's your bass tone. But yeah, that fan in a few months' time will be on eBay or Reverb selling that thing at a premium.
Oh, yes.
Possibly
Most
not.
definitely will. And you can tell the guy or the person is very is a fan of John May, because you can also see a silver sky in the photo this person has posted.
Here's a quick quiz for you, Vlad. Is that a Silver Sky American build, or is that a Silver Sky SE? And he's put a humbucker in the bridge, so it's not a real SE.
That is an SE, but I'm pretty sure I see SE written here.
I can't tell.
There's an SE there.
There you go, then.
I'm going to give this post a like, by the way, since I'm logged into Instagram on my browser for whatever reason. Yeah, let's give it a like. There you go. Well done, Raul. I mean,
that's a pretty cool thing, isn't it?
It's kind of cool, kind of silly, and I know John, like, having listened to a bunch of his interviews, he seems to be a guy who's kind of into all of this gear thing, but also kind of approaches it slightly sarcastically, and I love that. That's probably how I would approach it as well, if I would be.
I'm going to have to watch this video as well.
Yes,
but
indeed.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Important news. Moving on to the next one.
Absolutely.
Which is, I'm almost depressed to even say the title of this article. Guitar.com says, this is Spinal Tap cast and crew to reunite for 2024 sequel. And all I can say is, why? Why?
Yeah. Please don't mess this one up, guys. Surely they don't need the money.
Yeah. They said that the long-awaited Spinal Tap 2 is slated for release. Was it long-awaited? It will be 4 years since the original aired.
I mean, maybe after the first one came out, people said, yeah, you should make another one. I mean, we're way too young to remember it when it came out, but I mean, I love
that is very true.
That movie. It's one of my absolute favorites.
It's fun.
But yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
For me, there never needed to be a sequel.
No.
Because it was perfect as it was.
I think I watched the movie
if the
twice.
sequel's really bad, they could taint it. And I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I have very, very, very low expectations for this one. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. We can discuss that in the next CatPick Fridays episode.
Do they mention what the plot of the sequel could be?
I was thinking of the cast.
Well, we've got all the main actors, so that
really
the band is there. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
The plot for Spinal Tap 2 will reportedly revolve around the death of the fictional band's manager, Ian Faith, played by the late Tony Hendra, and his surviving wife, who inherited a contract that said Spinal Tap owed them one more concert, so the boys have no choice but to return for one last gig. 40 years later or something, presumably. Very interesting.
I think this might be one of those movies where you get a bunch of friends who have also watched Spinal Tap, who at least somewhat enjoyed it, and then all of you can just sit, have a few drinks, maybe order some pizza, and just have fun. I think this is one of those movies where you have very low expectations, and that could be the key to enjoy this movie. That's my theory, at least.
Yeah, I hope with all my being that it's good, and that if they can't make it good, that they give up and say, no, we can't do it justice, and we can't do another. But there we go. I mean, I'm sure it'll do well at cinemas, but yeah. I'm apprehensive about it. Want it to be good, but want it to not destroy any legacies, because Spinal Tap is legendary.
Yeah, so it will probably be a year or year and a half before we'll see any trailers or anything like that. So
Yeah.
We shall see. So there you go. From this to some very, very unfortunate news. Trevor Strand, founder and lead singer of Black Dahlia Murder, dies at 41 years old. And another tragic, sad death of a fantastic musician. I have to admit, I'm not super familiar with the band's music, but from what I understand, it's a fairly big band. And this probably might mark the end of the whole group. So that's also very, very sad.
Yeah, it's terribly sad news. They were a huge band within their genre, very influential. And like you say, the band, I mean, it can't go on. It was around him, the singer. I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but him and one of the guitar players were the only kind of continual members. They'd been around for 20 years, but the rest of the lineup had evolved and shifted many times along with their sound. And so that will be the end of this band. But yeah, terrible news indeed.
It's okay to mention this because they mentioned this in the article and the band has mentioned themselves, but no cause of death was provided, though the band did leave a number 4 National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at the end of their message. And I guess it might be slightly different compared to what happened to Taylor Hawkins, but also like we've lost 2 great musicians over the past few weeks, which is really sad. And with both of them feels that way too early. So, sucks. Big time. And yeah, from something like this, something maybe I'd say less important, but for some people this could actually be important. Seyour Duncan has 3 new pickups for all your shred needs, gigahertz, or riff needs, or whatever needs it is that you have. Thanks. That's very informative indeed. First there's a 78 model, which is loaded with Alnico 2 magnet. And I guess it goes for PF style sound. Or does 78 refer to some sort of Van Halen-ish tone to you?
That's what I was wondering, and I was already instantly thinking Vlad needs to grab a couple of these to stick them in his project guitar.
That is very true.
Call Seyour Duncan, tell them what you got, get them to send you a pair.
Hey, Mr. Seymour, can I please have 2 78 model pickups?
Yes, if you read the little text there, the magnet and output combination lend themselves to a warm crunch with biting leads and overtone-laden tapped runs. So yeah, this is obviously an EVH-influenced pickup set.
Yeah.
Well, Vlad, whatever needs it is that you have, as the article states, Seyour Duncan has something for you.
Yeah, could be. Then there's the Green Magic, which offers a classic neck and bridge tones as expected, but with clarity and expressiveness generally associated with singing coils when activated together.
What?
Yep. And yeah, finally
okay, so
there's...
they're out of phase.
Oh, there you go. And finally there's high voltage. High voltage humbuckers are not to the old school with the familiar Alnico magnets, but they are wound a bit more aggressive voicing that creates a noticeable sonic distance. Okay. The bridge pickup is degaussed in the...
What's the sonic distance?
Sonic distance indeed. Yeah, delivers a balanced tone. Cool.
Is that an AC/DC set? High voltage? My guess, based on the name. Cool.
Sure, sounds like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think written articles on pickups are one of the most useless things ever. Just reference the band, like, yeah, this is the Van Halen sound, and move on. Anything else, like, I don't know. Something is a bit more aggressive, but warmer, but rounder, and also makes you coffee type of description.
With a notable sonic distance. Whatever that means. That's just a few words about sound that they put together.
Now. Please let me distance myself from this article.
Yeah.
I mean, these look cool. Seyour Duncan pickups are actually absolute classics. So why not? And fairly priced as well.
Yeah. This is one of the biggest problems that guitar magazines have had since the internet has come out. You could, you could send these pickups to the most respected magazine in the world, Premier Guitar or Guitarist or Guitar World or whatever, and they could do a 2-page article about them and write every adjective in the world about how they sound and describe them amazingly. And yet you could go onto YouTube, which has issues of its own, of course, especially when it comes to the compressions of sound. But you could go onto YouTube and listen to all 3 of them in 30 seconds and hear more than you can read in 4 pages. That's the issue for written articles about stuff like this. It's such a shame because I'm a huge fan of the written word and a trained journalist. I trained in the wrong industry, but
not necessarily. Just maybe it's just that some things require audio, and if you pair it with video, you get YouTube content, I guess. And I mean, I 100% agree. It just tells you so much more when you can hear the pickup. And for example, you could do a demo where you put all 3 pickups at the same height into the same guitar, and then you can compare and decide which one you want.
Yep.
Enough ranting about this, and let's rant about Meris Audio, who still hasn't released anything about the upcoming pedal. We talked about that last week or a couple of weeks ago already. I am not sure anymore. They just have 2 weird-looking teaser posts. Make room for new memories.
They're making us talk about it, or we've chosen to talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's working, but it's annoying.
I was saying we're the ones to blame.
It's our own fault.
Yeah, mark your calendar. So on 17th, we should find out more. May 17th.
Oh, so by the time of next week's show, we'll be able to tell people what this pedal is. Let's take an educated guess, Vlad. I have watched the video, which is appearing on the screen now, without sound. And to me, it sounds like a synth-like arpeggiator pedal. That's what I'm going to guess.
Sure did.
Other people have guessed it's going to be a combination reverb delay pedal. But I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, teaser campaigns, it's kind of a thing that in the age of Twitter and Snapchat and TikTok, I think people no longer have the patience to deal with them. I mean, I think this Meris one has been going on for less than 2 weeks and people are just saying, release the pedal already.
Release the pedal. I'm going to follow them on Instagram, by the way. Just click the follow button. They can tease me more.
They've got it. They've succeeded because you've signed up.
Yeah.
You'll sign up for their newsletter next and they've got you then. The next thing is you'll be buying it. I'm going to see if they're at NAMM, by the way. And go and ask them why they did a teaser campaign.
Why? They just approached them angrily. Just right away.
Meris is not there. Every company that I've searched during this show, and I've searched about 4, has not been there.
That is
of course, the people will be there. They've just chosen not to pay money to exhibit. The movers and shakers, the key gentlemen, the key women, the key people from each company will be at the show. They just won't be spending the dollars to be on a booth.
Yeah, but I gotta say that sucks. But what doesn't suck are the comments and questions and things like that we've gotten since last week. So we're going to dive into those next. There's some spicy ones. I like that. Questions and comments. I'll try not to suffocate on some dust I just managed to get into the air. Instead, focus on answering your beautiful, beautiful questions and comments. And last week, we talked about the Harley Benton something fusion black guitar range they released. We got some spicy ones on these guitars. Some people really enjoyed them. But then We got the spicy ones as well. Neil Aspinall says, anything that disrupts the Chapman brand is okay by me. And by the way, we thought these two guitars looked awfully lot like Chapman guitars. Yeah. Basically, Neil says, anything that disrupts the Chapman brand is okay by me. The face that has been a little too cocky for the longest time. This is what internet was created for. I love it. Yeah, I can see people having this opinion.
I was going to say,
yeah.
I believe Neil is voicing the opinion that probably quite a few people have.
Yeah. And we've talked about this before. Rob Chapman was my hero at some point in the early YouTube days, so 10 plus years ago. He was the hero. He was the guy everyone just loved to follow because he was kind of one of us, but he was doing cool things or on guitar and just, sharing his life. And I guess at some point things went off the cliff just a little bit. And it's not that I actively hate the guy, but also just don't pay attention to what he's doing anymore. But I completely can understand people having this opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people think that. I mean, I don't know if I can still say I'm a fan of what Rob Chapman does because I don't really watch that much of it anymore. It doesn't get recommended to me or anything like that, so I don't see a lot of the videos. But it was interesting how kind of quiet the release of the new Chapman 2022 range was in comparison to, let's say, the Solar stuff that we've just talked about. Let's say these new Harley Benton things. They've fallen behind in that sense. Yeah,
they're kind of falling off the radar just a bit. And not even just a bit, quite a lot actually. They had one of the biggest, I think they had like one of the biggest guitar booths at NAMM some years ago. Like they had their own separate space.
They had a massive booth and they did a massive publicity campaign with the Made in England range. Was it British Standard or something like that they called it? And they were like,
that, yes.
Yeah, 4 Made in England guitars, and it was going to be a huge thing. And yeah, with hindsight, I don't think they ever had any kind of real desire to build those guitars. It was just a massive publicity stunt, and it worked because it was a huge story at the time.
Yes.
I don't think anything like that would work again, but you never know. I despite everything, despite all that's happened, I'm still interested to kind of check in and see what's happening with Rob Chapman and with the Chapman brand and to see what he's going to do next, because you just never know. Let me just do my quick NAMM search to see if Chapman is going to be there. My guess is going to be no.
Please do. Please do. But by the way, we're not done with
making me sadder every time I look.
Harley Benton roasted ones.
Say again?
Sorry?
Say that again?
We are not done with the Harley Benton roasted EMG guitars, by the way. People had opinions. I love that.
Yes. No Chapman.
There you go.
But will Rob Chapman be at the NAMM show? That's the question.
That is
no Victory amps either. They were on the list before. They must have cancelled or pulled out. So that's really interesting.
Interesting.
That is. I mean, will Rob Chapman be at NAMM? Will Lee Anderton and the Andertons crew be at NAMM? You can bet your ass they will be. I'm sure they will be there.
You think they would.
To take you just a tiny bit off topic before we talk about these new Harley Bentons, I believe that Harley Benton should start having stands at consumer and business shows like this. Why are they not doing it?
Honestly, not sure. Maybe it's just
that's a topic for another show, I guess. But
yeah,
well, they have.
Maybe it would mean that you would have to have like a face for that brand as well, and it's kind of not necessarily, but maybe.
Does every brand have a face? That's actually a really interesting point, though, because lots of modern, smaller, up-and-coming brands, they do have a face.
Yep.
I work for Blue Guitar, which has Thomas Blug. Okay, that's not a young face in that way, but that's a face. It's all based around him.
It's a great face to have as the head of the company.
What a beautiful man indeed, inside and out. I'll take the 20 euros, Thomas, if you're watching this anytime. Chapman, it was based around the personality cult of Rob Chapman. Solar guitars, that's Ola England.
Yep.
It's really interesting. But, a lot of the older companies, I mean, people like Leo Fender are idolized now, but were those companies built around a single selling point, a face, an artist, a celebrity? I don't think they were.
Yep. That's the thing.
But yeah, anyway, so for me, Harley Benton should start putting booths out at places. I actually understand why they don't do it at NAMM, because they don't have distribution there properly, and it's still difficult for people in North America to get their stuff. But they should be at Guitar Summit in Germany. Maybe one day they will be. Maybe the rest of the industry wouldn't welcome them. I don't know. But yeah.
Really hard to tell. I could see some arguing happening in the stand, because Harley Benton do have some instruments that look very much like the instruments of some other companies.
Indeed. Just like the brand new Fusion EMG range.
There you go. Exactly. And speaking of the Fusion range, next comment comes from Chris Nussen. For whatever reason, I added some Swedish to the pronunciation. He thinks the new Harley Bentons are most definitely Charvel ripoffs. Also a slight call out to the Jim Root signatures, although not as direct inspired, because they're not volume pot only. And he has had 3 Fusion 3 S style guitars. Again, a clear Charvel DK24 ripoff, he thinks, and will still looks when nice. Honestly, the neck profile is nowhere near as nice as to play as real Charvel. The roasted maple on a Charvel has smoother, softer feel, probably because of the lacquer it's finished in. I'm not sure you had lacquer on the roasted maple neck, by the way. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. The HP just felt cheap. These new ones have piqued my curiosity, though, purely for the EMG and fixed bridge. Well, that's the thing. If the guitar is $800 compared to $400, you're going to lose something in the quality control. That's just
you have to save somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can, we've talked about it a lot with these Harley Benton guitars. The specifications are second to none for the price. I mean, those specifications, the stainless steel frets, the roasted maple, they're technically, on paper, better specs than many guitars that you see which are more expensive,
That is true.
And basically nothing on the same price or cheaper is on a par with these guitars. But yeah, Harley Benton has to save money somewhere, and they save through having the direct sales model. There is no distribution. It's straight through Thomann. But they will also be saving in things like QC and stuff like that. They got to save the money somewhere.
That's the thing. Like, there are some steps in guitar building that you just can't skip, but then there are steps that you can do various quality on, I guess, would be a way to describe it. You can spend a lot of time filing the frets, or you can spend a minimum amount of time doing a decent job on the frets, and that makes all the difference. Yes. And that's
one
where the
thing
money
here
goes.
Is also like Chris is saying it's a Charvel rip. We were saying that we thought these guitars were very similar to Chapman's. So are the Chapman's a Charvel rip? Were the Charvels a Chapman rip? What came first? Chris also mentions the Jim Root Sigs, and they are also similar.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. I guess Fender came first, Charvel came after that, and everything else followed many years later. So that's the order of things. That's the order of ripping things from other manufacturers, I guess.
Yeah, it's really interesting what Chris says. I've not tried one of the related Charvel guitars, so I can't comment on it, but it's interesting that he found the Charvels to feel a lot better in terms of quality. I mean, you would hope that that's what the outcome would be, but
yeah, exactly.
That's an interesting point. And again, also interesting for him to say that despite all of that, he's still sort of interested in these because they're so well they're so well thought through. They've got the EMG pickups and the fixed bridge, which I also think is super cool.
Yep. That's the thing.
Yep.
And we've mentioned this in a bunch of our Harley Benton reviews, for example. Sometimes you might get really lucky and your Harley Benton is just amazingly finished. My ALS, for example, was that. I really didn't have any flaws on it. Like even the fret ends were really well rounded up and just played beautifully. Then, for example, the Fusion T I have over there in the closet, it has some things here and there that I don't enjoy as much. Nothing that can be fixed, or nothing that a good luthier couldn't just adjust and you'd be good to go. But yeah, these are the pros and cons when buying a more affordable instrument, and even more on this topic, because why not? Paz, I do not know how to pronounce your channel name, but anyway, Chapman ? More like, it looks a lot like Jim Root from Slipknot, which is cool in my opinion. And by the way, I have the Harley Benton Fusion Pro 2 original Floyd version, and it's a super guitar, not only for the price, tuning, stable tuning as well, stainless steel frets, just amazing, and I can't go back to non-stainless steel frets now. One of the best investments I've made. Yep. Here you go. You can get lucky with yours, and it could be a keeper. So nice. I'm actually kind of happy for you, and it's I think this is super fun to hear. There's a guitar, and then some people see, okay, it's a Chapman, it's a Chauvel, it's a Fender. There could be some other brand we're missing as well.
Yeah. But yeah, cool comment. Just about the frets thing, Vlad.
Yes.
You have experience with stainless steel frets too. I've played guitars with stainless steel frets. Like, to me, I don't feel any difference. I mean, I know that I have nickel fret guitars or whatever, and that I can see that those wear down. So I can see that there's the advantage of stainless steel in that way. They'll be with you forever. They won't, they won't wear down. They won't need crowning or replacing at any point. Other than that, do you notice a playing difference? Because it might just be the way I play, but for me, there's nothing in it.
I guess the only thing is that some people say they sound a bit different, and I have to agree. Maybe there's a tiny bit more kind of top end with those. That could be a thing. I feel they sound a bit
I'm going to say, let's hear what Jim Lill has to say about the difference in fret sounds. Has he done a video on that yet? I've lost touch with his channel in the past few weeks.
I haven't seen him releasing anything as of late. Maybe he's back to touring. And actually earning money.
He's closing in on 1 million views with his Tomewoods video.
Nice.
Very successful.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, the biggest thing about stainless steel frets is the fact that they don't wear out. Like when you find a guitar that just suits you, the kind of the same playability will stick with you for a long, long time. So that's really nice.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a definite advantage. I just wondered about the playing feel aspect.
Maybe a bit smoother, I'd say. Though my experience is again with a fairly premium guitar with the Ibanez AZ, the Japanese made one. So
yeah, I mean the Aeolus has stainless steel frets, right?
True, and it was actually a smooth playing guitar. So
with that one, if someone had given me 2 spec sheets and 2 identical guitars and said this one has nickel frets and this one has stainless steel frets, but it was actually the same guitar, I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't have been able to feel a difference. Or if the spec sheet had just said these are not stainless steel frets, I would have believed it. There's nothing where I can play them and say, oh yeah, these are stainless steel.
You make me want to do a test. I'm not sure how that test could be achieved. Like, basically, it would have to be the same guitar.
You'd have to, necks, you'd have to have exactly the same guitar
identical
to make
necks,
it scientific.
Where you swap. Not sure you can do that.
Would be hard to do. You'd have to commission maybe 2 identical necks.
That is very, very true. So,
yeah.
Oh well.
I don't know. Just a thought. Apologies for derailing the questions and comments section.
That was a question in a questions and comment section. So I
guess it was. If you're watching or listening still, what are your thoughts on the difference between stainless steel and standard guitar frets?
Yes, that's a great question.
I'd love to hear what you guys think about that.
Yep. From Harley Benton's too. The Harley Benton DIY kit. we didn't go that far. For whatever reason, like for a second, my brain thought we're going to a different direction, but not really. Steve Vestel comments on my video where I do the crazy EVH style painting on my Harley Benton CST kit project, and says, awesome. Whenever I purchase 2 of these PRS kits, I'm going to do one in 50-150 in red, white, and with the red and black and white stripes, as I did. And then he's going to do the second one with purple, yellow, and black stripes as well. I was actually thinking about purple, yellow, and black stripes as well, but I decided to go with the, I guess, even more classic look of black, red, and white. Though technically, my red is supposed to be neon pink, but it does look very red to me. So
yeah. Yeah, very cool. You're an influencer, Vlad. You're influencing Steve to go out and do this.
It sure seems like it. So we're going to go with that. And I love the next one. And this is on a video that's been out for quite a while. And I've done a video called 7 Reasons to Own Multiple Guitars. And I love this comment because the comment Lone Star 0380 says, I'm sure it costs a lot owning multiple guitars for each guitar's biannual setup plus getting them restrung every few months. I guess if you put it that way, yes, it costs a lot. But when you own several guitars, you're not playing all of them that much. If you play each of your guitars an hour a day, then you probably need to restrung them every few months and do biannual setups, maybe. I don't know. Do you see that as a cost, owning multiple guitars, is a question?
Well, I mean, the more guitars you have, the more guitars you need to buy strings for, and the more setups you need. But it's like, I guess it depends how much you have them. And it is true that if you have 2 guitars, you probably play them for half as much as you would play one guitar if you just had one. And if you have, 6 guitars, they probably get less play per guitar than if you just had the one. So it evens itself out a little bit there. I mean, it also comes down to the fact that some people live in climates and areas of the world where they have to have their guitars set up a lot more frequently, where temperatures go up and down a lot more and stuff like that. I think, well, actually in Finland it gets really cold, doesn't it? But it's also cold in summer, right? But I mean, where I live in the middle of Europe, it's never that bad. And I have a home which stays relatively constant in terms of humidity and temperature. And that means that the guitars generally don't need to be set up as much.
Yeah, we actually go through quite over the past year, if we take today's May 13th, if we think about the last year or so, we've gone from everything from plus 32 to 35 degrees Celsius to minus 35 degrees Celsius over the past year or so.
Yeah, that's a massive swing. Yeah, actually,
that's a huge swing.
In southern Germany, I mean, it goes up to 30 odd these days with the good old global warming. You get it up to 35 or whatever, even a bit higher sometimes. And it will go down to minus 10 or whatever in winter occasionally. So that is a big swing as well. But I mean, if you're not storing your guitars in your garden shed, you should be okay in that context, because your house should normally be at a fairly consistent temperature. Humidity is a slightly different factor.
We're back. Just got a call about my car. They finished the repairs and I can pick it up later today. So great. Let's do the last comment. And it says, come on, everything is falling apart today. Steve Dog 92 on the Amp of the Future Houston Gator Black Spirit 200 head demo review on CatPick Studios YouTube channel. And we're just going to make Rich uncomfortable talking about the Houston Gator. But yeah, basically he asks, how well does it take pedals? And then goes into explaining the different kind of pedals he has and things like that. And he's using a Jim Root Terra amp by Orange, by the way, and finds that some of the pedals don't work with those, and asking whether this would be a good option. And before I'll let Rich answer, I'll let Rich prepare his answer.
Why are you asking this question as if I'm going to have a problem with it? I'm cool with it. I'm easy.
Maybe just because I can. I don't know.
Continue.
Yes. But yeah, basically, I've had the amp as well. I've worked with Hughes and Kettner, and I was happy with work with them because that amp was good with pedals. It's a good amp, just in general, affordable, practical, all of those things. Played some cool live gigs with it as well, and loved how it worked there. And I think it worked really well with the pedals. And segue from this to Rich, you are still using that as your pedal platform on your channel with great results, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, along with the Pure Tone, the Hughes and Kettner amp that takes the pedals the best. Some of the other Hughes and Kettner amps, like the Tubemeister and the Grandmeister, your mileage may vary when it comes to putting pedals into them. They react very differently, but I think the Black Spirit 200 is a great pedal platform, and I love the clean channel on that amp. And, you know, I worked there for 6.5 years. I haven't worked there for 2 years, but I still haven't purchased another amp to replace my Black Spirit 200 because it's just really good. It's super practical for everything I do, you know. It has the built-in red box, which I can plug straight into my DAW through my audio interface, so it's practical in that sense. You can play it silently with headphones, so I think it's really good. It's super flexible too. I have no complaints about it whatsoever. I'm looking around for another amp to replace it with at some point, but it's hard to find something that ticks as many boxes for me in terms of practicalities. There are definitely better sounding amps out there, but in terms of all the options that I have, the ways I can use it, the ways I need to use it, there's not much out there that can beat it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The only amp that replaced the Hughes and Kettner amp for me was the Rev D20, which I'd say is probably the ultimate home studio pedal platform amp. But what you get with the Hughes and Kettner, you get 4 channels, and a lot of the sounds can come from that already. And then you can spice it up with all the pedals you want. And practicality-wise, they're fairly the same, I think. Except the Hughes and Kettner is just way louder if you're playing with a band. Sometimes that might be needed. But yeah, thumbs up from me. It's a good amp. It's super practical. It looks cool in photos and videos as well with all the blue lights and stuff like that. So yeah.
And just particularly talking about the boost that Steve Dog mentions there. The boost on the Black Spirit 200 for me, I think is really good. It's what Hughes and Kettner call an intelligent boost. So it's not always the same. It looks at your settings, what you've currently got dialed in, and it basically takes you up a notch from whatever you've got. So if you're on the clean channel, kind of at the edge of breakup, it takes you into breakup. If you're on like purely clean, it'll give you a clean boost, like a dB boost more. If you're on the lead channel or whatever, it'll give you a creamier lead tone. So it's an intelligent boost, and it's pretty cool.
Nice.
I really like it. I mean, I've tried the Orange Jim Root Terror, by the way, as well, and that's a pretty cool amp, but it's very much kind of in a specific sort of genre for me. It does what it does really well, but it's not, for me, it's not a pedal platform for doing what Steve wants to do with it. The other amp, which I would consider trying, but have not yet, is a Rev, a D20 or a G20. So those are on my list to check out as soon as I get the chance.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. I love Orange amps, but as pedal platforms, they're just not as, they're not a clean pedal platform. Let's put it that way. They work really well with some pedals. Some pedals sound amazing when you put them through an Orange. But then there are cases where I've had some trouble with the preamps on the Orange amps when trying to run different kind of pedals into them. So if you want to have a pedal platform, the Black Spirit 200, for example, is a great option for that. And we also recommend checking out the D20. And all of this, by the way, might be something that I did reply to this person personally. And now we can share this information with you, lovely people, as well. And that concludes questions and comments for this week. Thank you. These are great. A lot of great topics. I just hit my monitor that's here on the side as well. And if you want to have your question answered or you want to send us a story about your favorite guitar or anything like that, you can do that by either commenting on this video or any other CatPick Fridays video, or email us at podcast@catpickstudios.com. So be sure to do that. And before we wrap up for this week, something we think you should watch this week, and also known as Weekend Watch.
Watch it. Video.
It's not like you have anything else to do. Because you don't have anything else to do, you should watch a video where, well, you know more about it, but basically, in a nutshell, Joe Bonamassa buys another old Les Paul. That's the premise for this video, right?
Yeah, that's the story in a nutshell. The location is the UK. Somebody happened to find an old Gibson Les Paul in their wardrobe, which had been stored there for years and years. It turned out to be a 1961. The daughter of the owner, who purchased it originally in the 60s for £50, the daughter took it to a local dealer because she thought it might be worth about £5,000. The dealer then went on to tell them that it would probably fetch six figures if done up. And that happened recently. However, a certain Mr. Joe Bonamassa happened to be on tour in the UK at the time that this story started to kind of break. He got the guys with the guitar to hit him up at one of his local gigs, and that guitar now belongs to Joe Bonamassa. So that's the story very, very briefly and basically. Have a watch of this video to find out in a bit more detail about what the guitar is. They're calling it the Dirty Burst because it was a very dirty guitar in pretty poor shape, really needs a bit of TLC. And the funniest thing about it for me is the fact that the burst has almost disappeared. Vlad, if you click into the video a bit, maybe we can see a screenshot of the guitar itself. The reddish part of the burst is basically almost faded away completely. Yeah.
Weird.
So it's
Never
a plain
seen that
top.
happen to Les Paul.
Yeah, it's interesting, huh? But
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Which is a stupid thing to say, just out of context, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really interesting story. I mean, I'm really happy that the dealer, which I think is the chap that we're looking at on the screen right now, was honest with the people who were going to sell the guitar. He didn't just say, "Oh, that's a dud. It's worth £200. I'll give it to you cash now," and then he goes to sell it for $100,000 or whatever. That is not what's happened. So that's great. So the family have done a good deal. The dealers have done a good deal, and Joe Bonamassa has the next, boutique burst in his collection, which I have mixed feelings about. I mean, on the one hand, he's the best person to own those guitars because he actually plays them. He's a huge fan himself. They're not disappearing into a bank vault somewhere. They will probably get used on tour. He's an aficionado, a great player. And, he deserves to be able to buy what he wants. On the other hand, give somebody else a chance. Don't you think? It's like, how many 59s, 58s, 60 Les Pauls does he have? It's a lot.
And
it's hard to grasp. Course, he's of course in the 1% of people who can afford them. And like I said, he's probably the best guy to have them anyway because he will use them, he will play them and do them justice. But there must be others out there who do have the money thinking, oh great, this guitar comes along and before I'd even heard about it, it's gone down to see Joe Bonamassa and he snapped it up and that's my chance gone to own one of these pieces of history. I reckon that Joe Bonamassa by now has like a sort of gravitational pull to these guitars. When they're unearthed, they kind of naturally, or maybe it's a magnetic force, they're drawn to him.
Yeah,
but he must have so many.
And all of a sudden the guitar just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I reckon he flew into the UK and started playing gigs and these people had forgotten about that guitar and suddenly the wardrobe, the doors started rattling and they thought maybe it was haunted and they opened it up and there was this glow of this old case and they opened it up and the guitar was just itching to get into the hands of Joe Bonamassa. That's a funny one.
Yeah, so it's like a cool animation for someone to do. Like, he should start he should really lean into do some sort of like a gig intro where he goes to a country and like all of the Les Paul cases in the basement start rattling. like one of them flies into his lap on the stage and he starts rocking with that. Joe, if you're listening, and I know you are, hit us up. We can script this video for you. So
and
there you go.
Come on and do a bit of a chat with us about this guitar, because that'd be quite interesting. We would really love to talk about all that stuff.
Yeah. But
yeah,
cool. This sounds really cool. I'll have to watch this properly with sound.
Really interesting
I'll
story.
probably get more out of this video with sound. Just guessing.
I think you will probably appreciate the finer details more if you get to hear it. But
one could say that. But yeah, looks really cool. Really cool. And predictions. I'll be remembering predictions from now on because I got one right. So.
Go on then. You're on a roll. Make your next one.
Oh, come on. There will be another metal kind of themed guitar release by Harley Benton next week. Guitar amp.
That would not surprise me. I mean, they're on a roll, right?
I'm lowering the bar just to get to keep this up. If I'm at some point like predicting somebody's going to release music related gear, that doesn't count anymore. But this is, I'd like to think this is still specific enough that it kind of makes sense. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
we'll accept
to come up with we'll need to come up with some sort of like point system, like something really weird and unlikely, and then you get extra points. But if you say somebody's going to release a Les Paul shaped guitar, you'll get a 1 point.
I like that. And the viewers can play along as well.
Yes.
And then we can all add up our points every week. Yeah, let's get that sorted. So for me, what's next week? Next Friday is going to be the 20th of May. The week after that is NAMM week. And we've seen this week already that there's not been much released. It feels like everything now is going to kind of come in the NAMM run-up and take advantage of that extended publicity. The one thing that I've been saying two things over and over again the past few weeks or months. The first one was that Dan Electro would release something. And I kind of got that a bit right because Harley Benton did the MR65s, which they have now sent to me. Proof. So I've got the standard 6-string here in the blue. And something even more exciting. They've sent me the baritone. And this is the modern baritone, the one with the ebony board and the stainless steel frets. So videos of them coming up at some point.
That is very cool.
It is indeed. And these guitars must have come out a month ago or something. By the time it took for them to send them to me, they've released the new EMG Fusion guitars already. So every few weeks there is something by Harley Benton. But I'm still thinking there's going to be a Dan Electro release. And my other thing that I've been saying quite often is that I feel like there will be some kind of major amp release coming up. And I'm not talking about the Blue Guitar Amp X, which we're finally launching at NAMM. I'm talking about something from one of the big boys,
Yeah.
So something that makes us all say, oh, wow, this is a new thing. I have no prior inside or industry knowledge about that. This is just a guess. Same with Dan Electro. I have no industry knowledge there either.
Yep. Yeah, we shall see next week. But for now, it's time to it's definitely time to wrap up CatPick Fridays, as you can tell. Time to edit that Harley Benton DIY kit video that shall be unleashed upon the world soon. And as always, give us a like, subscribe to both of our channels, and have a great weekend. We shall see you next week, as we do here on CatPick Fridays. Bye, podcast.
Bye, podcast.